What I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be showing you how I go from the seed start method to the double cup method. Stay tuned and I'm going to show you what I got going on. All right, this is the plan, guys. Normally what happens whenever your seedlings begin to sprout and they begin to grow and they get, some size on them, the roots inside the seedling container start to get a little bit large. And as you can see right here, you can see how the roots are starting to spread out and move around pretty good throughout the cell. Well, the thing that I'm trying to prevent is I'm trying to prevent the roots from getting root bound inside of those containers. And now I'm at the point to where I want them to really begin to uptake nutrients because there's really not hardly any in the seed starting mix. Really, there's not really any at all. And I want to put them in an environment where they actually can begin to soak up and take up nutrients. So for me, a lot of people, choose not to do it. That's their decision. But for me, I like using a double cup method. I tried this method last year and it worked for me really well. So I'm gonna continue that process and I'm gonna go with it again this year. As you can see, I got your standard size cup right here. I think it's a 16 ounce. And I got a clear 16 ounce cup. And the purpose for this is that I'm going to fill this container right here with my pipe mix. And this right here is what I'm gonna use whenever I actually begin to water them. I use this right here to put my water in, set that in. As you can see, holes in the bottom. Like I said, I like watering from the bottom. This is the wicking process. So I'll put it inside of this container and then I fill this up maybe about about halfway with water. And then once this is filled with the seed starting mix, I'll set that down in there, let it absorb, and then it'll water from the bottom. After about 15, 20 minutes, I'll take it out, empty the residual water out of the cup, and just set it back in there and let it do its thing. Now, some people like to put maybe like a stone or something small in the bottom, so that way it won't set flush all the way down. But for what I've used with the size cups that I have, it gives me a little bit of space at the bottom anyway, so that way the bottom of the red cup won't be sitting completely at the bottom of the transparent cup. And for me, that method seems to work. Okay, so the supplies I'm going to use right here at this time, I got my 5-gallon bucket. I absolutely love the Miracle-Gro Organics growing mix. It worked for me last year, so I'm going to stick with it again this year. And I have my handy dandy mixing for it, because what's going to happen is that the potting mix is going to be pretty dry, hydrophobic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put enough scoops in there to fill up the cups that I need. And then that way I'll put some hot water in it, mix it up to make sure that soil stays moist. And what I like to do, just call me a little bit of a neat freak, I got a little case right here, and basically it's a little manicure case. It's got like fingernail clippers and scissors and tweezers and stuff like that in it. And the reason why I like having this is because, one, the scissors allow me to be able to cut the little small dead leaves and stuff off of the plant as I begin to uppot them. And the tweezers, if I need to be able to hold on to something pretty small, it gives me the ability to be able to hold on to that. So for me, it's just a little thing that I do. You don't have to do it, but it's just something that I like to have. All right, guys, hold on. I'll get back with you and let you see how I begin to do the next part of the process. Okay, guys, what I do, I take my bag of my potting mix and I'll use about maybe 10 to 12 ounces of the potting mix in the cup. And the reason why I don't fill it all the way up is because when I go to remove my my seeds from the cell, I'll implant the whole cell in on the inside, and then I'll pack it, or I'll put the seed starting mix in, the potting mix in the bottom, and I'll pack it and I'll leave them about 2 inches in height. And the reason why I leave it 2 inches in height is because when I take them out of the cell, set them on the inside, it'll usually take the plant even with the top of the container, and then that way, all I have to do is just level it all the way up to the top the rest of the way through. And normally what I do, like for instance, I have 12 plants, so I'm gonna be up planting 12 containers. So I'm gonna take 12 scoops of this, put it inside my bucket, and then I'll mix it with the warm water. I'll get back with you in a sec. Okay guys, I'm back. I just wanted to show you, I mixed inside of my bucket. I mixed the, it was about 12 of those 16-ounce cups, 12 of those 16-ounce cups of the Miracle-Gro and organics, and I mixed it with water. Like I said, the consistency is about right. You don't want it dripping with water, but you want it to be able to hold a consistency like this to where it's in a clump. But you don't want it to be dripping with water, and that's about the consistency that I want. So that's all the water I'm going to add. And what I have done, I have successfully did my first up plant. I took one of the pepperoncinis out and I used the double cup method, and I got the pepperoncini set inside of that cup and dated for 3-1. Now, whenever I actually go to water this, what I'll do when it starts to dry out, I'll put water in it. I'll probably go about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches, maybe a third of a cup. A third of this cup, let me say that. So that'll be about maybe five ounces, maybe 5 to 6 ounces. And I'll put that in there. And then what I'll do, I'll set this in here because it's got holes at the bottom. And I'll set that in there. And then what it'll do, it'll set, and then the water rise up, and then it'll set down towards the bottom. And it'll set in there for 15 minutes because that's normally how long I leave when I do my watering from the bottom. Then after 15 minutes are over, I'll just take the cup out, pour the excess water out, and set it back in there until the next time that it waters. And what I wanted to do, and what happens is it'll force those roots to grow out and push down and go further down into the water. If it starts to dry out, you might see roots coming out the bottom, but that'll be fine too. Because when I go to put them in the garden, well, I'll show you guys that later. But when I go to put them in the garden, it's no problem putting them in the garden. So that right there is how it looks after it's done. So what I'm gonna do at this point, I'm gonna show you the process that I use to get them inside the cup. What I do now, I just put some masking tape on the outside of the red cup. I use a black Sharpie, and that's the actual 2 items that I use. And I write jalapeno or with the type of plant that I'm planting, and I put the date beside it. All right, so what I do next, I have this right here is called a 6-inch scale. Like I said, I like using this. It's easier to handle and it's easier to maneuver around, especially when I'm putting my soil in the cup. So I told you before that I mixed my potting mix up, or Miracle-Gro Organics, and I mixed it with water, got it to the consistency that I wanted. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to take a handful of the potting mix and put it in, well, let me move this over. A handful of the potting mix, and I'm gonna put it inside of the cup. So I just reach in, squeeze out any excess water, and I'll put some in. So what I do, I just kind of eyeball it, take my hand, and I press it down a little bit. I don't put a whole lot of pressure on it, just kind of, even it out, smooth it out, pack it down on the inside. So I take my 6-inch scale, run it along the side of the cup, and that's how it actually looks. So if you look on the inside, it tells you the height of your actual potting mix. So I'm still about 1 inch off. So what I'll do, I just take the rest, another amount, not a whole handful, but a good amount of the potting mix, put some more in there till I think I get to my level. And I'll pack that down in there once again. Like I said, it ain't gotta be super packed, but you want it nice and flush. Look at it, try to even it out and smooth it out the best I can. And okay, it's there. I'm not a perfectionist, guys, but I do like to try to get it at least pretty close because I have to stick with the method that worked for me last year. And I was real successful. And what I'll do, I'll show you guys in one of my shorts how it actually turned out when I was done with it. Okay, so now that I see that I'm right at the 2 inches that I need, make sure that this nice and set so that way it's not a bunch of air pockets and stuff in there. I'll slide my scale out, move this over. Now, what I'll do is that I'll take, don't tell nobody, I use a couple of butter knives. And what I do, I'll take the tray out and I'll look and slide that sticker out, the jalapeno sticker or stick. And I'll look around, see the area that has the least amount of roots, because I don't want to disturb the roots. And it look like it might be maybe inside it here and inside here. Okay, so what I'll do, this is what I consider the surgery aspect of it. Take my butter knives, take one butter knife, and what I do, I just go along the edge here till I hit the bottom. Do the same thing here. Try not to disturb the roots. Try not to, break them or cut them. Make sure that you're sitting all the way down on both sides. So what I do, I'll press out like that, and I'll lift up to see if I can get it consistent. It's not always perfect, but I do the best I can with it. So I'll set it down. Make sure it's set, give it a little squeeze. See if I can get it to come up. Come on, baby. Work for me, there we go. Take your time with it, lift, and then I'll set it inside like this. What I'll do, I'll surround the plant with the mix all the way around on all sides. Try to get it even as possible. And as you guys can see, I start packing it around. And it can be a little cumbersome sometimes, but for me, I'm a weirdo. It's kind of fun. Let me move this out of the way so you guys can see. See how it's starting to look in there? I'll bring it back to you in a second. Let me put some more dirt in. Just grab the little excess that's around, and I'll fill it up the rest of the way. Plant the seed in water, but it's God that gives the increase, you know what I mean? And, get that off of there. And there we go, guys. Jalapeno, the cup that I need to water it in, set it in there. And not only that, by being transparent, you can tell exactly which pepper it is. All right, guys, I hope that helped. I hope you guys were able to pick something up. And if you like what I did, subscribe, give me that thumbs up, tell folk about it. Maybe it'll help somebody else. And if you guys see anything that I can do better, or if they got, better stuff out there that's not expensive, drop a comment. All right, guys, T Speller, Country Hood. Holler at you guys later. I'm out. Yo, guys, what's up? It's me, it's T Speller. There was a couple of things that I wanted to add in the last video that I had put out. The one thing that I wanted to tell you was that I live in Zone 7B in North Carolina. And I started my peppers in the house up potted on 3-1. The reason why I done that is because my hardiness zone is on 7B. So our last expected frost date is to be sometime around mid-April, which means that I up potted because I'm going to keep my plants either in on my sunroom or either in the germination room. And the reason why I do that is because you don't want to put peppers out where the frost damage can actually come in and destroy them. So that was one of the purpose why I do up plant. And it also gives me a head start before I put them out in the garden. A lot of people say that it doesn't matter, but like I said, it worked for me last year, so I decided to go with it again. Now, wherever your zone, or hardiness zone is, wherever you live, you got to do what works for you. But for me, this right here is what worked, and this is the reason why I stuck with it. Hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking me out. And y'all, please forgive me. These allergies are kicking my butt. So I'll see you guys later. T-Spell, I'm out.